Are they dangerous?
The area is full of snakes.
Full of snakes.
Scorpions.
Yeah.
I'm Molly Blackall, I's Global Affairs Correspondent, and I'm spending the next few days around the Sudanese border with South Sudan to find out how the world's newest country is dealing with a vast humanitarian crisis caused by the bloodshed unleashed by Sudan's warring generals. Sudan has been run by a council of generals since a coup in October 2021. It was just a month before the country was due to transition to a civilian government. After overthrowing the country's prime minister, two generals vying for control of the country formed a delicate pact. But grievances between the generals, one the head of the army and the other the leader of a powerful paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, continued to simmer. In April, tensions boiled over, and fighting between the RSF and the Sudanese army broke out at a military base in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, triggering unrest across the country. Trapped citizens describe an atmosphere of lawlessness, with residents risking their lives to pick up basic supplies and blackouts plunging hospitals into darkness. While international governments evacuated their citizens, nearly 500,000 people from Sudan fled its borders. Of those, 100,000 are now living in South Sudan.
This is the border between Sudan and South Sudan. This line right here is the start of no man's land, and around here behind me is an entire camp which has sprung up very recently. We don't know exactly yet how many people are crossing the border, but it looks to be hundreds still every day. And people are coming on carts with donkeys carrying the few possessions that they've brought. Others we've spoken to have walked the whole way. There was somebody who walked out of the Sudanese capital of Khartoum. They had very little food, purely water, and now they're walking into here to try and find phone signal to let their family know that they're safe. From here, people are registered and then they're moved on to other locations, slightly more permanent camps. There's children getting measles vaccines, people are getting their registration documents, but it really is rudimentary. There's not very much here, and it's been a real rush for the aid community to scramble to get this in place to meet the massive demand of these new arrivals.
Majok Maik works for the Humanitarian and Development Consortium at the border between Sudan and South Sudan. He told me the camp has been receiving thousands of people every day, many of them children. Arrivals often come with no food or money, and the camp is struggling to provide for the influx of people.
It's a terrible situation.
Sure.
Have you seen things this bad before, or is this the worst that it's been here?
Of course, this was, and I feel actually they need to be supported. They need to be supported and need to be cared for. The situation is worse, and you could just see. You don't need to be told. You have seen how people are suffering, and walking from Khartoum up to this place, they get a lot of challenges on the way. So, if the international community could do something about this, super. Yeah.
So you would like more aid, more money, more support?
Yeah, sure. They need to be supported. They need a lot of support.
Some of the children, are they sick? I mean, this is very difficult for a child, isn't it?
Sure. Like previously, we have received death cases of children.
Children have died here?
Yeah, have died here. Like
how many? 3
of them plus an old man.
An hour's drive from the nearest land border is Renk camp. Over 10,000 people are living here, having arrived since the conflict began.
The conditions are shocking, to say the least. There's mud everywhere. People are sleeping in shelters made of sticks and bits of fabric over the top. There's children running around. There are outbreaks of various diseases, and most people have said to us that they don't have enough food or water. We've seen babies as young as a month old here, and the conditions for everybody are so difficult. People are really shocked by what's happened, and most of them don't know where they're going to go next.
Nadia is a secondary school teacher who is living in Khartoum. With a job, a nice house and money in the bank, she tells me she never thought she'd end up in a place like this. None of that was any protection when the airstrikes rained down on her affluent area of the city. She saw her neighbour's house destroyed. people she knew well died in that building, she says. Now, she and one of her 5 children have contracted malaria from their time in the camp.
حياتي كانت عايشة عادية بس ابتداء من لما حصل الحرب وول السودان لما المشاكل حصل حياتي غيرت upside down. عندنا بيت كويس دورين وعندنا عربات لكن لما حصل الحرب في عمارة جنبنا ادانا وقع فيه ناس ماتوا واحنا بنعرفهم كويسين واحنا ذاتي لما مرقنا من العمارة قوام يمكن حيحصل حاجة مش كويس. صدقيني لو أنا مش مؤمنة بالله كان جاني صدمة كان جنون أو كان كريزي. خليت كل القروش في البنك عندي دولارات عندي جنيه خليته في البنك مش قادرة أسحبه لأنه الدنيا حرب. أنا يوم من أيام ما توقعت أنوم في مكان زي كده ولا توقعت أولادي ما يأكلوش ينوموا يوم جيعانين ما فيش أكل يأكلوا بليلة.
Further south of the border, more camps are being hastily expanded to try to deal with the influx of people caught up in this conflict.
There's hundreds of people arriving here every day. The camp is just getting bigger, but the rainy season is looming. They've already had 2 days of rains, and the concern is that it's going to flood the camp. What few possessions and shelters people have are going to be washed away, and eventually it will bring more mosquitoes, it'll bring more malaria than is already in this camp, and further waterborne diseases like cholera.
Salam had been living in Sudan for 5 years, having escaped her native Eritrea. A strict military dictatorship, military service is compulsory for Eritreans, both male and female, and the length of national service can be indefinite. When the fighting in Sudan broke out in April, Salam crossed the border with other vulnerable women, but the conditions she's found in the camp pose their own set of dangers.
المكان ده نفس المكان اللي كنت فيه في إريتريا بتاعت العسكرية هو نفس التكامل وذات الزجاني هنا جيتوا. أنا لما جيت هنا من الرن قالوا لنا عندكم محل صيرت عندكم محل آمن للأكل والشراب عندكم محل آمن للمستشفيات. نحن لكن ما لقينا منه ولا حاجة صحيحة. وبنهاية السيرت أنا واحدة من الناس اللي استركت. أنا من الناس واحدة اللي استركت شنطتي كاملة بالبينتين بتاعي الدايرة أبيعه بالأكريليك ماي أكريليك كلرز بالحاجات الكوفير. أنا كنت شغالة حاجات كوفيري كلها ملابسي $1,500 سعر أغراض مع ملابسي كلها وحاجاتي كلها ضاعت. يعني في كم ناس فقدوا حقهم زي أنا هنا. يعني نحن العايشين ده ما بتتمناه للزوج ما بتتمناه نهائي.
Unsanitary conditions and robberies aren't the only threats the people in this camp are having to contend with.
Are they dangerous?
The green one and this one is very dangerous.
What happens if they bite you?
Within 1 hour, 50 or 30 minutes if you are not taken to a hospital, you will die.
So these are from one day?
Yes, yeah, 1 day. From different tents of the camp.
The area is full of snakes, scorpions.
Yeah.
This is a transit camp. We're supposed to move to the other one. Those who are there, you may experience a number of incidents just within a night.
Hassan says he was an opposition politician in Sudan before he left for fear of repercussions. He tells me people are wasting away here.
Most of the refugees who are here, most of them are under 40 years old. They want to follow up their education. They want to improve their situation. So if they get a chance to be resettled in any, as you said, Western countries, in Europe, USA, Canada, Australia, Scandinavia. So that is it. But no one has a desire to stay here. We have engineers, doctors, people of different academic backgrounds. So I am sure that they will contribute a lot wherever they go.
As recent arrivals clamber onto boats to continue their journey down the Nile, the future for these young engineers, doctors and nurses remains uncertain.
So people are making it as far as Renk, which is quite close to the Sudanese border, only about an hour's drive, and then they're coming here and trying to get on boats to sail the rest of the way down to the capital to find some new form of life there.
As neighbouring countries creak under the pressure of growing numbers of people streaming through their borders, the conflict between the Sudanese army and the RSF wears on. But these muddy, bloody camps are a crisis largely blinkered out by the international community, with aid cuts constraining the humanitarian response and little media attention to raise its profile. For now at least, a promising future for some of the world's most vulnerable seems far out of reach.